Welcome to the Empower Her podcast. I'm Deanna, an ex-corporate manager turned certified coach, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. My goal is to guide you and support you in understanding what you really want in life, what steps to take to get there, and learn to actually enjoy the ride. Whether you are climbing the corporate ladder, a stay-at-home parent, or an entrepreneur, I coach you on how to believe you are worthy of a balanced, happy, and energetically positive life in work and at home. My goal in this podcast is to help you recognize patterns, implement change, and use your energy for positivity within yourself and your own life. I believe you don't have to suffer in this lifetime. You can create a life on your terms based on what you want, regardless of what that looks like. It is about reframing your beliefs, letting go of negative thoughts, and looking at your life as a set of opportunities there for you. I'm so excited to get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Empower Her podcast. Hope everyone's having an amazing October. I'm actually recording this a little bit earlier in the month because I have an exciting life update. It hasn't happened yet, but by the time you're listening to this, I will have gotten married, which I'm so excited about. I got married the week before, so when you're listening to this, it would have been last week that I got married. That's why I was recording episodes in advance and getting everything out to make sure there was episodes for everyone to listen to. I had a lot of good ideas and that I wanted to talk about, but I got married last week and hopefully everything went well. We didn't do a big wedding. We just went to the courthouse, and then later in the week, we had a party with our friends. So hopefully everything went well. I was a little stressed right now as I'm recording this, a little bit stressed about everything, even though it's like not even a big wedding. But I feel like whenever you're doing things like this, like there's always something that comes up. So hopefully everything went well. Hopefully it was beautiful. I'm manifesting it, putting it into the ether. And I'm super, super excited about it. I ordered 2 fall candles. One of them is pumpkin pie. The other is maple apple, I think. And they're both going. One's in the bedroom. One's here in the living room. And I am like so obsessed. They're amazing. So I'm really, really into the fall vibes. Super, super excited about it. And I'm really excited to get into today's episode. Hopefully it's not so controversial as it seems, but it's something that I would talk to my clients about. And so I wanted to bring it to the podcast because I think it's a really good analogy and something we can look at. So I want to talk about why you should act like a white man for success. Okay. So I'm a woman, and just with the people that I work with, I mainly work with women of color, and neurodivergent individuals, neurodivergent women. And because of that, we know statistically women of color, neurodivergent women are just overall, they make less money, they're less confident, and they advocate for themselves less in the workplace and at home. My favorite statistic that I love to show in this instance is not a good statistic, but it greatly shows the lack of confidence that women feel compared to men. And that is that women will apply for a role, like if they're job searching, they will apply for a role if they feel 100% qualified, 100%, right? That means they need to fit every single bullet point. Versus a man will apply if he feels he fits 60% of the qualifications, which means that he doesn't feel like he fits everything and yet still applies. And we as women, we need to adopt this energy. This is what I tell my clients is have the energy of a white man, of a straight white man, right? We're talking about that privilege. We're talking about that confidence. Have that, right? If men can have this energy, why can't women, right? And of course, like there's obviously nuances to this, biases, racism, social economic situations, privilege, all of those things, right? And I just want to talk about this in a generalized context of like, in general, we live in a society where straight white men just have it easier, and they do, right? They have more privilege, and because of that, they have just been taught, whether it's directly or indirectly to have more confidence in women. As women, we're beaten down, more negative things are said about us. We have to work 10 times harder, or so we think we do. And we need to change that stereotype. We need to change that. And it starts with us. It starts with us first, making those internal shifts within us, because if we don't make those shifts within us, how can we expect other people to make those shifts about us, right? So I want to talk about this just in like a generalized context. I want this to be a fun conversation. I don't want it to be so serious, right? And again, taking into consideration all these nuances, but I want to talk about this as a whole and basically give tips on how you as a woman can embody the qualities of a straight white man, and really talk about it from the sense of like how you can build your confidence and how you can be more successful. So I have a list of points and I want to go through all of them. So let's get into it. So the first thing is you need to adopt confidence in your capabilities. So this means trusting your capabilities, trusting your skills. I see so many women, right? I work with a lot of women who are changing careers or trying to get a new job. And they feel like, so they get hired and then they feel like they have to earn their spot. And I'm like, girlfriend, like they hired you. You are qualified for the role. You no longer need to perform and earn your spot. You've already earned your spot, right? At this point, you just need to do what they're expecting of you. You do not need to go above and beyond and earn your spot. You already earned it, right? So this confidence in your abilities is believing that you're good at what you do. And no, that doesn't mean that you need to know everything, right? Which takes us into the second quality, which is confidence in being able to learn new things and ask for help. So I always tell my clients that if you are 100% qualified for a role, you are overqualified. If you're looking at a job description, which by the way is a wish list, it is a wish list that a company puts together, right? They're most likely not going to find someone with everything, nor should they, because if you are 100% qualified, you are overqualified. That means you're going to get bored in the role easily. It means there's no room for you to grow, right? And that's not good for you or your employer. So we have to think about it from that context of like, yes, you obviously should be qualified to do the tasks within the role, but if you only have 7 years of experience and they're looking for 10, that doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing the role, right? So these are just some things to think about. And the thing is that not only that, but you have to understand that it's not always about knowing everything. It's about understanding that you can work with other people and you can learn new things and you can ask for help and you can go to people, right? Because I think we get into this position of like the higher up we get, the more we need to know. And like obviously to some degree, yes, but also like when I was a leader, right, in corporate, I wasn't the one doing the daily work. Like I was helping manage the team and strategically and, hiring new team members and how the, communication with stakeholders should look. I wasn't actually doing the physical work. So like the people in my team were doing the physical, like day to day. I worked in marketing. So they were doing the copy and the design and the websites and all those things. Like I don't need to be able to do those things, right? I need to understand how that works, but I don't need to be able to do everything. I don't need to be able to code like they code, right? And so understanding that you can still move up, you can still be qualified for a role without having to know every single thing. That is what your team is there for. The next point is, and this one is so good for women especially, is don't overanalyze what people think or say about you. So as women, we really tend to overanalyze. I do think biologically, like in our brains, like we're built a certain way. But, there's like those classic stories where like, those heterosexual partners, the man will come home, he tells, his wife or his partner like, oh yeah, so-and-so just broke up. And then she says, oh, what are the details? And he's like, I don't know. And he literally can't say anything else because they just don't overanalyze things. They don't care as much about the details as we do. And of course, we know that this is like built on society and how it was really important back in the day for women to gossip. It really kept information flowing. It was like, pertinent to our survival. So we understand why this came about. And we understand that they're different, but there are times when we don't need to overanalyze everything, especially when people say things behind your back or mean things. I always say that whatever someone says behind your back isn't any of your business, right? Like unless someone comes up to you and says, hey, this bothered me or that bothered me or this upset me, like if you're hearing it from other people, that's not your business. Like if someone can't come up to you and tell you, that's their problem, right? Like we have to be able to be confrontational. Last week's episode was about being confrontational and the importance of it. We have to be able to tell someone when something isn't right or doesn't feel right, right? So that's going to be super, super important. And, again, unless someone comes up to you and says there's an issue, it's none of your business, right? Like you can be the best person in the world, and that doesn't mean that everyone's going to like you. It doesn't mean that you're going to do everything perfectly, right? Perfection is completely overrated. It is actually impossible to achieve. Perfection causes a lot of procrastination. It causes a lot of issues that just aren't necessary. And we really need to get past that, right? Like we shouldn't be overanalyzing what people say and think about us. Not everyone's going to like us, and that's okay. I would say the more unique you are, the more different you are, the more you stand out, the more the higher up you get in your job, right? You're going to have more people dislike you as well. And you have to find a way to not let that affect you, because their opinions are going to affect you as a person and how you see yourself. And that's just not going to help you in the long run. It's just not going to help you, right? So the next point is prioritizing your needs. So how many times do we see men specifically prioritizing their needs? So, women need to do that too, whether it's in relationships, whether it's you being a mom, whether it's at work. You have to start putting yourself first, because actually putting yourself first will make you better in whatever you're doing, right? So taking breaks, doing self-care, sleeping, like putting yourself, getting your nails and hair done, like whatever it is that your hobbies are, right? Going to the gym if that's what feels good to you, taking a walk, going on a drive, doing a little, Target run, whatever it is. That time to yourself, taking those breaks, you're actually going to come back recharged, and you're going to be a better person to your kids, to your coworkers, to your partner, to your family, friends, whoever it is, right? Like maybe it means skipping laundry, right? Or skipping doing overtime or whatever task it is that's not usually life-threatening. Like take time for yourself, right? And something I recommend doing, and a tip I always recommend to people, is schedule in self-care and quote unquote me time into your calendar as if it was like an appointment or something for work. And you need to schedule it as a non-negotiable, because if you do that, then you're going to start to take it seriously. And then you're also going to see when you have appointments for self-care or whatever it is, and then you're going to make sure that you actually stick to those time frames and stick to those appointments, right? It's really important to prioritize your needs. The next point is advocate for yourself. So this is something that I find is really hard for women. I struggled with this for a long time as well, but you have to speak up for yourself. And that means speaking up in meetings. It means telling your partner what you need. It means asking for help when you need it. There is absolutely no shame in asking and advocating for yourself. I often talk about this with my neurodivergent clients because I encourage them to advocate for themselves at work about certain accommodations that they need, or certain, any support or help that they need in order to work better. And this goes for anyone, even if you're not neurodivergent, both at work and at home. And again, asking for help or advocating for yourself or telling someone what you need, it doesn't mean that you're less than or not good enough. It just means that you need support or you need help or whatever it is. So make sure to ask for what you need, because that's really, really going to help you perform better and be more efficient. Frankly, you're going to be better if you ask for what you need. The next point is take risks. Okay. This is also something I find that women often have trouble with. And again, like, do you have a new idea at work that you want to share? Do you want to try a new haircut you've been eyeing? Like, do it, right? Like, take the risk. What is the worst thing that can happen? It's a good way to think about it, is like, okay, what's the worst case scenario? And think that through. And oftentimes it's not as bad as you think, right? And again, this comes from like women putting themselves last, putting themselves into a box that you don't want to stand out or be seen, right? Like women are really still socialized to be seen and not heard. Don't talk about things. Don't say what you need, but taking risk and doing things for you are going to pay off. And again, I'm not talking about like go jump off a cliff, right? Like we need to be calculated, but yes, give your ideas in the team meeting, or yes, tell your partner that you need more date nights, right? Whatever it is, like if you're confident and you know your worth, that decision of taking that risk is going to be a good decision. So the next thing is setting boundaries. Okay, so as women, we need to get better with setting boundaries. So saying no when something doesn't feel right, stepping away or removing yourself from a situation that doesn't serve you, such a good one. We often as women like stick in these situations. We stay in the conversation longer. We let someone keep saying those mean things to us. We let someone keep making us work overtime. Like we have to be able to set those boundaries, right? Maybe this could mean remove people from your life who don't enhance it. Maybe it means telling your boss that you're not doing overtime or that you have to leave at 4 to pick up your kid, right? Like you do not need to be a people pleaser. I mentioned this earlier, like not everyone is going to like you. That is a fact. You cannot have everyone like you. It doesn't work that way. So we have to find a way to let go of the people pleasing tendencies. Mindset work, of course, is really great with this. But setting those boundaries, right? Like setting those boundaries for you, because at the end of the day, you're actually only hurting yourself by not setting boundaries, by not saying no, by not removing yourself from situations, right? The other people, it doesn't really affect them that much usually if you set those boundaries. At the end of the day, it's not going to be a big deal to them. And even if it is, who cares, right? Because it's about you and setting your boundaries. So understand what it is that doesn't feel right, people that you need to remove yourself from, situations you need to remove yourself from, and start to think about how you can do that. And then the last point on here, which is a little bit out of left field, but I think it's really important, is men often love to have mentors in their life, especially in like business and especially in these like old boys club type of companies. Men often have mentors that they can talk to, someone that supports them, right? Someone that has been in their shoes and can guide them in their career. So I really recommend this for women, is to find someone you trust and you look up to mentor you, someone that's in a position that you want. This can be at work, this can be outside of work, but again, someone that you actually really look up to. Imagine like the life that you want, the person you want to be, the woman you want to become, and find someone who embodies all those characteristics and have them mentor you, talk to them, be in spaces with people like that. And this goes the same for not just mentorship, but again, if you're manifesting this version of yourself, is spend time with like-minded people. Spend time with people who feel the same way you do. Spend time with people who are positive and confident, because at the end of the day, if you do that, you're also then going to be more confident and you're going to start embodying all of these qualities. I hope this was enlightening. I hope it gave you some food for thought and things that you can work on to really increase your confidence. I think it's so important for women to, especially like now with Gen Z coming into the workforce and just really this like positive energy in this turn. Now is our time as women to really make a change, to really show up, to really have the confidence that we should have always had, because you're incredible, you're amazing, you are worthy, and you deserve all of the amazing things that you're manifesting. I hope you all have an amazing, fabulous week, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And if you love this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a review. And of course, you can follow me at Coach Deanna DeBolt on TikTok and Instagram. I'll catch you next time.